try and keep it brief. If it does start to sound a bit like an Oscar acceptance speech, just start the music playing and I'll get on. Alright? So, I, James Hogarth, being in awful presence of Almighty God, do voluntarily declare that I will preserve and endeavouring to support a brotherhood known as the Tin Plate Workers' Society. And I solemnly declare that I will never act in opposition to the brotherhood in their attempt to support wages. I will never instruct any person in the art of tin plate working. I will never, in any shop where an obliged brother has been unjustly forced off standing his price. I will never make these obligations known to any master, so help me God. If I reveal my solemn obligation, may all the society disgrace me as long as I live, and may what is now before me plunge my soul into the everlasting pit of misery. That's the Tin Plate Workers' Oath. It's one of the founding societies of the union movement. They met and supported each other in secret because it was illegal to stand up for yourself, and stand up for your pay, and stand up for your conditions. It may feel like it's starting to go that way again. Through their tireless work and through other such societies, workers' representation was brought out of the shadows and gained respect and legitimacy. But not before they were raided by police, arrested and deported to Tasmania. All because they wanted a fair wage. In the decades that followed, trade unions and the new labour movement would be responsible for the 8-hour working day, annual leave, parental leave, forcing employers to abide by contracts, and not just their workers, pensions. They fought for the minimum wage and they won us the weekends. When voting was a responsibility that was enjoyed by just a handful of men in each borough, both common men and women came together to win the vote for us. Now, it was just men that were given that vote. It would be another few decades before the suffrage movement would win it for women as well, not through incredible hardship and sacrifice. All of these rights feel huge and eternal, but they were fought for, they were hard won, and not by sitting politely and hoping those in positions of power would change things for the better. They were through strikes, they were through protests, they're through support from the population, negotiation and collective bargaining, all the tools that we are trying to employ for ourselves in our own fight for pay and conditions. So, if it ever feels hopeless, if you feel like you can't see how losing another day's pay will change anything, remember, we stand on the backs of giants. If we can fight for, if they can fight to give us the liberties that we enjoy today, then what will our legacy be for the future? What is even a 10% pay rise compared to what they have shown us that we can do together? Will we allow this government to strip away our right to organise and protest, or will we show our students that standing up for yourself is necessary and possible? Even when bullies not only do everything in their power to hold you down, but convince everyone around you there isn't even a problem in the first place. But what example are we setting? And won't someone please think of the children? Well, I did actually. And I remember when I was one of those hundreds of children who, at my school, who walked out of school in protest for the war in Afghanistan. Now, we were told that we could have a nice little protest in the playground, and the local photographer would come around to take some snaps for the newspaper, and then we'd all be back to class by 9 in the morning. Okay. So protesting was fine, as long as it wasn't disruptive. Some of you may have felt the same sentiments in your own schools over the last few weeks. The lessons that I learned from that were not in the curriculum. They were in the fire in my belly that I got for taking a stand, no matter how little chance there was that anything we were going to do was going to make a difference. They were in the electric buzz I felt from standing strong with other people who were willing to take action and create that disruption. Now, I am by no means unique in this, so I thought I would tell you of some of the protests that children have taken in order to effect change in their own situations, their own lives. In 1911, children in Wales walked out of school in protest against corporal punishment. Their example led to similar protests in 62 towns and cities across Britain and Ireland. In 1972, 10,000 London children went on strike again against corporal punishment. They held signs out that held "No to the cane." The result? This is what was said at the time. Retribution was meted out on the backsides of the strikers. It was another 10 years before corporal punishment was made illegal in the UK. In 2018, American students walked out of school in protest of gun violence and the laws that make such violence a frequent part of school life. In Arkansas, the protesters were caned for disobedience. In 2020, Indian children striking in support of climate action were jailed for suspicion of sedition, which carries a sentence of life in prison. I don't know about you, but I think those children are setting teachers a pretty good example. But no matter what we do, there are some people who we will never get. But no matter what we do, there are some people who we will never get our point across to. So I'd like to read you a tweet. Now this is one of many, but it just happens to be one that I found the other day. This is from Tom. So this is from Tom, who responded to the Trade Union Council's post where it was revealed that UK workers give their employers £26 billion of free labour in unpaid overtime. He says, "You don't need to strike. If you don't like your job, just get another one. Someone else will be happy to do your job." Well, to Tom, and any Toms that you may have in your life, I will say this. Tom! Great news! Many teachers are following your advice. They didn't like their job, so they went out and they got another one. Problem is, it's left us with a little bit of a retention crisis and not enough teachers to fill positions. They've already taken their experience and their expertise elsewhere, and another 44% of teachers in England plan to quit by 2027. 13% of teachers that qualified in 2019 have left already. In fact, after just 5 years in the job, a third of new teachers have found a better job, found something somewhere else to go. Problem number 2, Tom. Someone else isn't happy to do their job. Recruitment for teaching fails to meet government targets year on year due to uncompetitive wages, high stress, and high workload. As a result, it's common that subjects in secondary schools are taught by teachers unqualified in their subject. 1 in 4 physics lessons are taught by an unqualified teacher. 1 in 8 for maths, and half of all computing lessons are taught by a teacher unqualified in the subject. Teachers are earning less than they did 12 years ago. 24% less for teachers, 27% less for teaching staff. For support workers and teaching staff. If you're a teacher at the top of the pay scale, you can't go any higher until you become management. You start becoming head teachers and that sort of thing. Then you have lost out on £64,000 over those 10 years, in terms of, in real terms, due to cuts and freezes. So you can see why we think there might need to be some changes, Tom. So I'll leave you with this, as it feels particularly relevant under this government, and even more, upcoming freezes, cuts, rocketing inflation, austerity and recession. This is a quote by George Lovelace. He was a leader of a trade union of just 6 agricultural workers in a little village in Dorset, who were only looking to be paid what was agreed by their bosses. Now, despite at this point trade unions being legal, they were still arrested and they were deported to Australia. He said this: "We've injured no man's reputation, character, person or property. We were meeting together to preserve ourselves, our wives and our children from utter degradation and starvation." Thank you.